Good evening. Welcome everyone to the CSU application workshop with Cal Law. Today you will learn about key deadlines, application tips, and resources to strengthen your transfer and pre-law journey. My name is Gladys Puente Valentine. I'm the program manager at the Cal Law Pathways. I'll be sharing more about our program and how we support students like you on the path to law school. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you'd like to get connected or learn more after today's session. We will be providing you with our contact information as well as our speakers. The presentation slides and the recording are going to be shared out with registrants and attendees, so you will have that information following this presentation. And for some housekeeping rules, we invite you to keep your camera on and ask as many questions as possible. Just, take full advantage of the presentation and our guest today. Also, just be mindful of your microphone. So try to keep that, muted. Unless you're speaking, then of course go ahead and unmute. But that just helps to minimize any kind of background noise. Okay, next slide, please. I'll share a little bit of information about our program. The California Law Pathways Program is a statewide initiative and program that supports community college students, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds, on their journey to law school. We offer this program at 36 California community colleges, so check out our partner map and find the campus nearest you. To join the program, make sure to sign up by completing the student survey by October 31st. And I can go ahead and walk you through some of our membership benefits that we have for our scholars and also just the process of joining. So once you complete the student survey and you're, officially have joined the program, then one of the greatest benefits of the program is academic, career, and transfer support. So you will be connected to your local pathway, law faculty advisor, a counselor that will provide support through your transfer process at the community college. There's a 7-course pre-law pattern that you can take to earn a certificate of completion, and your counselor will guide you, through those steps and through that certificate. Once you complete that certificate, that grants you access to special recognition in your undergraduate and law school applications. And that's recognized by 16 undergraduate partners and 16 law school partners. And in addition to that, you will also receive an application fee waiver to 16 of our partner law schools, which are all American Bar accredited here in California. And then also, throughout your entire journey from community college to law school, there will be several opportunities for mentorship. So connecting with legal professionals, judges, um, law school deans, different financial resources through stipends, scholarships, and also priority access to pre-law events on your campus and also through our statewide program. Next slide, please. So our resources are all listed in the student resource page. And when you go to that page, you'll find more information about how to connect with your pre-law advisor, with the campus of the support that you have on your campus, like the counselors. There's a journey map to kind of guide you through that. And then also, once you complete the certificate, or actually, I should say, when you're in the process of completing the certificate, we do have a guide that walks you through the classes that you need to take and how to request the certificate once the classes are completed. Um, Also, resources on how to apply, tips to apply to four-year partner campuses, and also tips to apply to law school. So make sure you check out that page. Next slide, please. We also have several events this academic year. So definitely make sure to go to our events page to register for those events. In the fall, we have several application workshops that are coming up. So next week, actually, we have a UC transfer application workshop. That's going to be October 8th from 4 to 5 p.m. And then we have another application workshop the following week, also on Wednesday from 4 to 5, with some of our private university partners. And there's also a law school admissions panel, and that's Wednesday, October 22nd at 4 p.m. And then in the spring, we have some careers in the law. It's a workshop, it's a presentation series. So there's going to be several presentations on different careers in the law. So, with your JD, if you're on the path to law school to become a lawyer, you'll learn about one, just the academic trajectory of how to get there. And then secondly, there will be a panel so you can learn about different practice areas in the law and connect with different attorneys that are in the legal field. And then there's going to be another presentation more focused on careers in the law without a JD. And so that will be your opportunity to learn about other jobs, at the court and in other spaces if you're not interested in necessarily going to law school. Okay, and then as I mentioned, we have a student survey. That is the official way to kind of join and get connected with our program. The QR code is here. We're going to be sharing that out also after this presentation and with the resources. So just make sure that you complete that survey. And if you have any questions, we are happy to help with that. And now we'd like to ask Dr. Guerrero to go ahead and introduce herself. Okay, so it looks like Dr. Guerrero is having some technical difficulties and may not be. Oh, sorry, I think she's here now. Hi, Dr. Guerrero. Excuse me,
Hi,
Dr. Guerra.
hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Guerra. So I was actually just at the point where I'm introducing you. I went over some of our Cal Law resources with our students. And so I'll go ahead and start your introduction before you begin. So I would love to, thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited to introduce Melissa Guerra, who is the Director of Outreach and Student Recruitment at CSU San Bernardino. Dr. Guerra is a two-time CSUSB alumna. She received her bachelor's in liberal studies and master's in counseling and guidance, and her doctorate at the California Lutheran University in higher education leadership. She was born and raised in Northridge, California, and moved to San Bernardino to pursue higher education and then never looked back from there. Her and her family now reside in Riverside, where she is raising her 4-year-old son. A proud first generation Latina, Dr. Guerra has dedicated her career to advancing access and equity in higher education. She has taught College 101 at College of the Desert, secured several grants, and received several recognitions from the American College Personnel Association. So we're very excited to have you here today. Thank you, Dr. Guerra, for being here. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and pass it on to you. And if you have any slides, you can go ahead and just share those slides.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today and to be in community with you. Um, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about CSUSB in particular. So what are some of the law options available at CSUSB? And then we're going to be focusing the rest of the conversation on how to apply to the CSU. For the CSU, it's one common application that CSUSB is a part of. And so I'm going to be discussing that. And I'm also happy to email these slides so that you guys can have access to it after this time. Because it is a lengthy presentation, just because I provide screenshots um, for several of the pages. And so I just want to make sure that you have the slides as reference. But very nice to meet you all once again. Thank you for the warm introduction. And so I'll go ahead and get started. And so let me go ahead and share my slides. Okay, perfect. Can you guys go ahead and see the slides? Can somebody speak or thumbs up?
We can see them.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And so then let me go ahead and just transition to the presentation. All right. So Cal
It's
State,
just, oh, Dr. Guerra, it's just not in like the full view mode.
oh, give me 1 second. Let me stop share and let me try that again. Give me 1 second. You would think after all these years of doing Zoom, I would know, how to exactly do it. There we go. That's the problem with multiple screens. Okay. And then could you just give me one thumbs up? Let me make sure I clicked on the right screen again. Can you see the welcome application workshop?
Yes, we're good to
Perfect.
go.
All right. So this is our beautiful Cal State San Bernardino. So we are part of the Cal State system. So as you're aware, as you may be aware, there's 22 options in the CSU. And so this is our beautiful university nestled in the northern part of the San Bernardino side. And we do have this beautiful backdrop of the mountains. And we are very proud of this institution. And so at Cal State San Bernardino, you do get the option of having over 70 degrees to choose from. We don't have a full major that is for pre-law. However, we do have political science with a minor in pre-law. And then we also have a certificate in pre-law. And so I'm sure that as you've heard many times by your guidance counselors or your advisors, you don't necessarily need an undergraduate degree titled law in order to apply or qualify for an actual law school, right? Most law schools will tell you that any undergraduate degree really qualifies as long as you have the degree and you pass the entrance examination into law school. But we do have the political science degree, like I mentioned, with the minor and focus on law that gives you that foundation to hopefully equip you to be successful with that examination as an option at CSUSB. And we also have an additional, again, 70 degrees to choose from. So you have plenty of options with CSUSB beyond the political science and concentration with pre-law. So now we're going to focus on the application. And so a lot of the information that I'm going to share is specific to CSUSB, but a lot of it's also going to be important to know for all the other CSUs that you might also be considering. And so just know that every CSU that you're considering has an application filing period. And so most of us, all of us, I should say, it's a single application, and all of us start that application on October 1st. And so all of us are going to have an end date of when that filing period is going to end. For CSUSB in particular, our application closes on January 30th of 2026. So you have some time, but you definitely don't want to wait last minute to submit your application. You want to be able to relax and enjoy your holidays. And so the sooner you start those applications, the better for you and your mental state, right? Soon after you apply, all of the Cal States are going to send you instructions to create your student portal with that institution. And that's important to follow those instructions because that is how you're going to receive updates regarding your admissions application with that CSU. For CSUSB, we're going to send you instructions right away within 24 hours of you submitting that admissions application, instructions to create your My Coyote portal, which is what we call for you to get updates regarding your admissions application with us. There is an application submission deadline. There typically is a priority application filing period for most Cal States, especially your most popular ones like San Diego State, Fullerton, San Luis Obispo. For CSUSB, our priority deadline is December. So as long as you can start it within October and submit it by December, you are meeting the priority threshold. However, you still have more time until the end of January 30th, but if you're applying to one of our impacted programs, we highly encourage you to make sure you pay attention and submit by December. Admissions offers for Cal State San Bernardino, they're given to you within 48 hours. So that's one of our pride points at CSUSB, that we don't like to make you wait and stress regarding a decision. We want to tell you as fast as possible, because we understand that you have future plans to make, right? And arrangements to make. And so we take pride in trying to give you a decision within 48 hours. Sometimes when there's errors in the application, we can't give you such a quick decision, right? And so that's when we reach out to you personally and we say, hey, we might need an official transcript for us to be able to understand what was submitted in your application and for us to be able to make a decision. And so that's specific to CSUSB. Every CSU operates differently. So it's just important that you, again, just follow the instructions that are given to you in your in your portal within that CSU that emailed you. And then for CSUSB, every CSU is going to ask for transcripts, right? The application that you will start on October, for example, is all going to be based on self-reported information. For CSUSB, we need transcripts to then validate that self-reported information. And so after we make a decision for transfer students in particular, we ask for 2 deadlines for official documents for us to verify that information that was submitted. So the first one's going to be about December 17th is usually when we ask for a partial transcript. It's partial because we don't expect all of your transfer coursework to be completed. When you submit the application in October, for example, we want to see that we anticipate that you're going to enter coursework in progress or planned for the spring semester. And so that's why we ask for that partial transcript so that we can see what's your in progress work. Then we ask for a final transcript around July 15th, the following term, so that we can see that you did complete and pass the courses that you were in progress for. Then for CSUSB, we don't ask for a confirmation deposit. Once you're admitted, you do need to solidify your decision with that Cal State. And this is for all 22 Cal States. And so some Cal States will ask for a deposit. Some will ask for a deposit that can range between $100 to some $300. For CSUSB, we do not require a confirmation by way of money. We just simply ask that you go into your My Coyote portal, follow the directions to go ahead and accept your offer. Then we also the fun thing about you accepting your offer, whether it's with CSUSB or with one of the Cal States, is the next step after that, and that is for you to register for orientation. Orientation is very exciting because that's telling you that you're closer to meeting your academic advisor and getting your class schedule for the fall. So that is what our focus is at orientation, for you to really get your official welcome to CSUSB, meet your academic advisor, and build that class schedule with their assistance. And before you leave us that day, you're walking away with your fall schedule for you to be able to make your plans for that fall. So just some common questions that we often get asked around Cal State Apply is, can I make changes to my application after it has been submitted? And so these common questions are not just specific to CSUSB. This is mostly for all CSUs. Once you submit your application, you cannot make any changes. And that's why it's important to take your time with that application, because you're unable to go back and make those changes, right? And so because the filing period is so long, take your time. That's why we encourage you to start it early in October, so that you can work on it through a couple of days, through a week. You can get assistance from us to guide you, from your advisors to guide you, to verify your work and make sure that you feel confident, once you hit that submit button, that everything is accurate, and that you don't have to then call that CSU to make corrections. Do I need to enter test scores in my application? For the entire CSU system, we do not require test scores to determine your eligibility with a CSU campus. We still accept test scores to determine placement. This is not for transfer students, however. This is more for incoming freshmen, those students that are coming directly after high school graduation to a CSU. It helps us determine math, and English placement classes for them. But for transfer students, we wouldn't need SAT or ACT test scores, because you're beyond that point, right? The only thing that is important from this slide for you to know is AP and IB test scores. Those are crucial. If you took AP or IB classes in high school and passed those test school examinations with a score of 3 or higher, then you do want to let us know that you have those test scores. You can always reach back out to those agencies and request copies of those test scores if you no longer have access to them, because we want to give you college credit, right? That's going to be one less class or two that you would have to take with us if you provide those exams. I do not need the major I do not see the major I want to apply to. What is wrong, right? So let's say that you already launched the application. Now you have to go ahead and select what program you wish to apply to, but you don't see the exact major that you are looking for. Sometimes Cal States or just higher education institutions in general will name their majors differently, right? Some schools will name their business degrees as business administration. Some of them will name them as administration. And so it can range, right? Same for pre-med. Some schools will call it biology pre-med, some will name it pre-med, and some would just name it biology. And so I know that it makes it harder for you guys to decipher that information. And so that's why a best practice that I always recommend is just make sure to, before you launch the application, log on to the Cal State that you wish to apply to, and look for the exact name of the major that you're wishing to apply to for that specific CSU, just to make it easier for you when you do launch the application. You know exactly what name you're looking for, and you're not finding yourself spending extra time looking for it within the application drop-down menu. So for CSUSB, we have our bulletin csusb.edu programs A through Z that you can go to for reference to see all of our 70-degree options for undergraduate students, and be able to see what major options you have. What are your impacted majors? So remember, every CSU is going to have their own impacted list. For CSUSB, it's only two, which is pre-nursing and pre-social work. So I apologize for that typo right there. I should say pre-nursing. And so for these two programs, nursing is definitely the #1 competitive program, but I'm sure you guys don't have to worry about this since we are here talking about law. But just so you know, in case you have a friend or a family member, these are the only options at CSUSB that are impacted, requiring additional information upon applying. And the admissions process looks a little bit different for these students. I have repeated courses to improve my grade. Do I enter this class multiple times, or do I skip the bad grade within my Cal State Apply application? And so we often get this question from transfer students. And so what we want to tell you is you should add your courses as they appear on your transcript. This includes classes you have repeated. At the end of the coursework entry section, you will be asked if you repeated any classes, and you will then be able to mark those so that they will be excluded from your GPA calculations. And so within the Cal State Apply application, when you start entering a class, and I'll show you what that looks like in the next couple of slides, at the end of you entering that class, it's going to ask you for in a drop-down menu to select a grade, whether that's A, B, C, D, F, D, in progress, planned, repeated. And so that is where you can select repeated, and so that you won't have to put a failed grade, but then you would have to enter the semester and the class name again with the grade that you actually received for that better grade, if that makes sense. The only instance where you wouldn't do that is if you haven't 100% repeated the class yet, you're planning to repeat it. So then you would put the original failed grade, and then you would enter the same class again in the semester that you're planning to take it with a grade of planned. And so that is the best advice that we can give in those situations when you do have a repeated class. I have a yellow warning box. What do I do? So this is an example of a warning box that students can potentially get when they hit submit in the Cal State Apply application. And this is basically trying to warn you that there's something within your self-reported information around coursework that is indicating that you're not going to meet admissions requirements to that CSU. And so pay attention to that box. Don't just hit skip and submit. It's trying to warn you that, hey, go back and check the coursework you've entered. There's something here that's missing. So what are the admissions requirements for CSUSB in particular? And for CSUSB, we accept two types of transfer students, and that's lower division transfer students. Lower divisions transfer students means that it's a mixture of your high school coursework and your community college coursework. So that would be students that did complete their A through G requirements with a grade of C or better. But for whatever reason, they decided to attend a community college, and they did complete college level math and English. And as long as you completed those two classes at the community college and you have your A through G's passed, you're ready to apply to us and are ready to transfer as a lower division transfer student. So you wouldn't have to wait the 2 years at the CC. Then we also accept upper division transfer students that have 60 to 70 transferable units, so about 2 years. And you've also, within those 60 to 70 units, you also have the basic skills within those units, which is your college level math, college level English, critical thinking, and speech. Again, this is specific to CSUSB. The other CSUs, you would have to verify with them if they also accept lower division transfer students and what is their GPA requirement. How am I doing on time? I don't want to, I believe I only had 20 minutes.
You're doing good, and we can go up to um, even 5 o'clock if needed. Or actually, we might want at least 5 minutes for Q&A, so you're good on time.
Okay. So this is a list, a checklist that is very helpful to help you just get started successfully with your admissions application to any of the CSUs. So have an unofficial copy of your transcripts, because you're going to have to enter all of your transferable coursework. So if you've attended multiple Cal States, you want to have an unofficial copy of all the multiple community colleges. You want to have an unofficial copy of all those community colleges you've attended, just to make it easy for you to be able to type those courses in. Test scores, again, if you have AP and IB, because there's a portion in the application that does allow you to enter those test scores. You want to have your social security number if available, or your DACA number if available. Your citizenship status, and this is not tied to admissions whatsoever. It's determined, it's because the fee waiver is embedded in the application. And so it's trying to determine your residency status to determine the fee waiver, but also the tuition cost that you're going to be anticipating based on that citizenship status. And then a method of payment. So you can pay the application fee by credit card, or again, there's a fee waiver embedded in the application. So hopefully you will qualify for that, and that can give you up to 4 Cal State applications for free, depending on whether or not your income answers can go ahead and give you that fee waiver. Your parent citizenship status, this is just, again, not required for admissions purposes, and this information doesn't have to be exact. It could be estimations of years of when your parents arrived here, if they're not citizens of this country. And so just being aware that those questions will come up, and so just having those answers prepared. Annual income, your parents if you are a dependent, or your income if you are independent. So to be considered independent for this application, you have to either be married, have children, or be 24 years old or older. So if you're not one of those 3 things, then you would still be considered dependent of your parents' income. And so there is questions around an estimation of your individual annual income if you're dependent, or your parents if you're still dependent on them. And then if you're applying to the EOP program, Educational Opportunity Program, this is a program that provides additional guidance and advising services to students that join the EOP program. So if you're part of a community college, it's typical to it's a EOPS program that exists at the community college, so that it's very similar to the EOP program that exists at the Cal State level. And so they provide extra advising. For example, you get your own advisor from the moment you start classes here till graduation. You get extra scholarships through EOP. You get extra resources like different onboarding, a different bridge program, different events, part of EOP. And so it's a wonderful program to join, but if you are applying to this program, you do need your parents' employment background and 2 recommendation contact information, not letters. They just ask for 2 recommenders contact information, and then EOP will go ahead and contact them for you. And then your California statewide student ID, this is completely optional. This is within your transcript, but sometimes students have a hard time finding it. So just know that you don't absolutely need this, but there is a California statewide student ID within your transcript. So if you can find it, it would be helpful to add it to the application. So this is the official website where you're going to launch your Cal State Apply application. So it's calstate.edu/apply. And again, it's a single application for all 22 Cal States. You're going to go ahead and select the term that you're applying for. So fall 2026 would be the term you're applying for. Then you're going to go ahead and create your account. And so what email address should you use? In order to create your account, it's going to ask for a personal email address. And so some students like to put their school email versus their personal email. But I would recommend to use your personal email, because sometimes it's mostly for high school students. Once they graduate, they no longer have access to that email address, and then they miss important deadlines beyond graduation. That we're still emailing them the summer before they start with us in the fall. So just be sure to provide an email address that you're going to still have access to the summer prior to the fall that you'll be starting with us. So some of the common mistakes is when you're prompted to create your account, students always forget their password. And this is really important because the application is lengthy. And so oftentimes you don't have the opportunity to finish the application in one sitting. And when you want to go back, it'll save your work. But then let's say you started one day and then you want to go back and finish it, then you're going to have trouble remembering your password and being able to start that where you and resume where you left off. And so just friendly reminder that as soon as you create that password, write it down, because it'll just make your life a lot easier. And then contact information, current address. You want to remember that you are applying for admissions, and part of that exciting part of applying for admissions is that you get congratulations mailings, right? You will get the big envelope congratulating you to that CSU that you are going to be accepted to. And so we want to make sure that we have the correct physical address for you so that we can send those wonderful, exciting congratulation letters to you. And so make sure that you're detailed as possible. Apartment numbers are needed. Attention to is needed if possible. If you have a PO box, just to make sure that those congratulatory emails get to mailers get to you. Then after you create your profile, you are going to be prompted to a page that's called extended profile. And so this is where you have to also take your time. Don't rush it. And if you have questions, if you're in doubt, you want to give us a call so that we can guide you to select the appropriate answer. So this is going to be important because this is trying to identify what type of student you are, and that's going to prompt the type of questions that you're going to see in the actual application. And so degree goal, what degree, credential, or certificate are you applying for? So you're going to then put first bachelor's degree or second bachelor's degree, right? There's some transfer students that already have a bachelor's degree but went back to the community college and now they want to come back and get a second bachelor's. So you just have to pay attention to what type of student you are. Then what of the following best describes you, current educational status, right? Are you a transferring with an associate degree for transfer, AAT, AST, awarded by California Community Colleges? Or are you transferring from a community college or for your institution with no AAT, AST? So in this particular question, it trips up a lot of transfer students because they confuse this with a regular associate's degree. So at the community college, you have the option between associate's degree, and then you have the option of this specific associate's degree that's called an AAT or AST. This degree is specific to the CSU. It was created by the CSU in partnership with the community college system. So for this specific question, if you are achieving a regular associate's degree, but not this specific one, then you want to go ahead and check this answer instead. And then this is more for the high school student. Have you taken and earned college credits through a community college or university? This is going to be for high school students um, because these sample answers were that. But for you guys, once you check one of these as a transfer student, you shouldn't get asked this question. And so again, some things to just prepare for to help you be successful is just making sure you know what type of student you are, whether that's going to be an associate degree for transfer student, how I just discussed, you're pursuing an AAT, AST, or you're applying as a lower division transfer student or an upper division transfer student. So it's just important to make sure that you yourself know what type of student you are and that you're answering that correctly to make sure you get asked the right questions within the application. Then finally, after you create your profile, all that was just to create your profile, you're finally going to be taken to actually start the application, and you're going to be assigned. That's when you'll finally see that you have a CAS ID right here. And that's where you want to write that number down if possible, along with the password that you use to create your profile. Because if there ever is an issue with your application with any of the CSUs, this is going to be helpful to reference to so that that CSU can quickly find you and see what went wrong between your submission of that application. And then you're going to get the opportunity to select the degree that you're applying for. So this is where you get to put in the search engine what type of name of degree you're looking for. And that's when I'll open up to this window right here. So this is where you'll get to see all of the 22 Cal States listed. And so it is in alphabetical order. And so you would just have to either type in here the specific Cal State that you want to apply to. so that you don't have to scroll the way down and find the one you're looking for. Or if you want to apply to multiple Cal States, right, multiple programs, you would just instead use this method and click the plus sign for the program under the Cal State that you're wishing to apply to. Okay, so to make it easier, if you just want to start with one Cal State first, you can go ahead and just type it here, and then all of this will go away and just bring up the one Cal State that you wish to apply for. But if you want to tackle multiple Cal States at the same time, then you would skip that and you would go straight here and just hit the plus sign under each Cal State that you wish to apply to. So you have two options. And then just this was part of the how to create your account. So when you are creating your account, you will get asked questions regarding your citizenship status and residency status. And so just make sure that you are clicking California resident yes if you do live in the state of California. I get surprised that a lot of students make that mistake, and just because the way it's worded is a little bit weird. But make sure that you do put California resident, because again, we want to make sure that the tuition that you're getting charged is the accurate one and that you're not being counted as an out-of-state student. This is some more information. Then you're going to go ahead and enter your high school. Even though you're a transfer student, you will be asked to enter your high school information, not your courses. You don't have to worry about your listing your high school courses, but we do want to know that you received a high school diploma or GED. And so that's the information that you're going to have to enter here. And it doesn't have to be an exact date, just an estimation of the year that you attended and the type of whether it was a semester, a quarter system, what type of system your school followed. Finally, then the application will launch. Okay, so I told you it's lengthy. It typically takes 2 hours to fill out a CSU application. So I just want to forewarn you. Make sure you have snacks and coffee and you're comfortable for this application, okay? But after you do all that, this is what the actual application looks like. And so we call these quadrants. So each of these squares are quadrants for us. And so personal information is going to be a lot of demographic information, a lot of income questions, a lot of residency questions. And then academic history is what typically takes transfer students the longest because this is where you're going to enter all of your coursework. Right. And then supporting information is pretty easy. This is more yes, no check boxes. And if you wish to apply to the EOP program, this is where you would do that. And so remember, if you are going to apply to EOP, then this is going to be a little bit time consuming because there is a series of questions that it will ask you, personal questions about yourself. Just they want to get to know you. Are you first generation? Are you low income? Is there any circumstances that you went through that it's important for you to seek EOP's assistance in why you need additional support to be successful in college. And so they just like to ask those types of questions here. And then program materials. So each CSU has different questions for program materials in this quadrant. So it's important that if you're applying to multiple Cal States that you are paying attention to quadrant 4, that you're making you're not skipping through anything, that you're not thinking that it's going to look the same for like all the other quadrants did. This one is always going to differ from Cal State to Cal State. So make sure that you click on that and that you follow the instructions within that quadrant. Some Cal States make it super easy and it's more of a summary of what just a summary of your academic program that you selected. But then some of the Cal States are going to have additional questions for you in this quadrant. College coursework entry. So this is finally where you get to go ahead and start quadrant 2 and enter your academic colleges that you've attended as a transfer student. And so this is the opportunity where you get to enter all of those institutions. Did you obtain a degree from this college? What type of term system does this college use? Is the type of questions you're going to first get started with. And then finally, when you get through these three quadrants, or all of the quadrants, I should say, this is what a completed application is going to look like. So again, each quadrant has a series of questions within these quadrants. And once you finish all of the questions within that quadrant is when you're going to see all of the quadrants turn green and have a check mark to indicating that you are ready to submit. This is an example of what you're going to see once you click submit. You're going to be able to see all of the applications that you have going on if you're applying to multiple CSUs. So this is an example of a student applying to two CSUs, CSU San Bernardino and Channel Islands. And it shows a check mark, 100% green, and it tells them the total for those two applications, how many applications are in the queue, and it also is going to allow you to check my fee waiver status. So this is a clickable option where you can click on it before you hit submit, and it can tell you if you qualify for the fee waiver based on the income questions or the income answers you provided at the beginning of the application. This is an example of a student qualifying for a fee waiver. So they clicked on that link and it told them, yes, you qualify for 4 out of 4 applications. So it just provides instructions, and it just means that they have room to add 2 more CSUs to their queue because they were given the fee waiver. And again, then the student's going to go ahead and hit submit. And then this is the fee waiver kicking in, showing them that they have a 0 balance because of that fee waiver. And that is it. And so in case you don't get that fee waiver, then you would just see the total here, and you can submit them individually or at the same time. So in case it's a long application window, right? It's open from October 1st all the way for CSUSB till January. So if you want to take your time and you want to submit applications month per month, you can. Or you can submit them all at the same time, but it's a lot more costly in case if you don't get that fee waiver, right? So just letting you know that you do have those two options. You can submit all at once or one at a time. And then what happens after you submit your application? So these are just some, you just want to remember as a transfer student that there's steps right after you submit your application to solidify your admissions with that CSU. So for CSUSB, some important dates to remember, or months you should remember, is after you apply, after you get admitted, we're going to assign you a to-do list. And that to-do list is going to include a deadline of May 1st for you to accept your offer of admissions. We've congratulated you. We're offering you admissions at CSUSB, but now you need to tell us whether you wish to move forward by accepting your offer and giving you instructions on how to do that. So the deadline to do that would be May 1. Then around June is when, if you do accept your offer, then around June, we email you instructions on how to select an orientation date. So you're going to be given a series of dates to choose from for your orientation to take place. And again, orientation is important because that's your official welcome to the campus. And it's where you're going to get to meet your academic advisor to build your class schedule for the fall. Then the final deadline is going to be in the month of July, and that's going to be for your final official transcripts. Again, you were admitted based on self-reported information, so we need those transcripts to determine that what you submitted in the beginning of October is accurate and true. And it also allows us to see any grades that are new to your transcript because you were in progress for new classes or you had classes planned. Other important reminders is what happens after I submit my application. Just, you want to check your student portal with that CSU. You want to make sure that you're checking your to-do list and any new communication from that CSU. Make sure that you also remember to apply to FAFSA financial aid grants. For CSUSB, this is our school code. So write that down. It makes it a lot easier to just enter that within the FAFSA application, because that automatically brings up CSUSB. And you just want to remember that each CSU does not offer you the same financial aid award. So that can definitely help you determine a decision of what CSU is best for you. So make sure that you apply to FAFSA, list as many schools as possible. And what that's going to prompt is this application is going to be sent to all of those financial aid offices at each CSU for them to create an award package for you. If you're a DACA student or AB 540 student, then you're going to go ahead and instead of a FAFSA, you're going to do the California Dream Act application and then apply for on-campus housing. So if you're interested in housing at the CSU, some CSUs make it mandatory for you to live there. Some CSUs do not make it mandatory. For CSUSB, it's optional. And so you can take a tour. You just have to contact our housing office and schedule a tour. And they can go ahead and show you the different apartment styles that we have. Price is going to price is going to be based on the apartment style you choose. The fancier it is, the more amenities it has, the more expensive it is going to be. But the more basic apartment with roommates is going to be more affordable. And so all that is listed on our website. And then you just want to check those student portals that each CSU asked you to create because you want to clear any holds. Holds are again just action items, to-dos, where we can't move forward with giving you your financial aid, for example, because you haven't submitted transcripts to us. So things like that could be a hold. And that is it. Um, Now I'll go ahead and open up for questions.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much. That was such a great presentation, Dr. Guerra. We really appreciate it. The step-by-step overview just made everything very clear and practical. So thank you for that. Um, there are two questions that were already dropped in the chat, so I can go ahead and bring those up. One is, do we need to submit grades from a foreign university if we didn't complete it? 3 years only.
Grades from a foreign university, like a different country university, for example, or what do they exactly mean by foreign university?
Mhm. And then I'll invite the student that asked the question to either you can go ahead and
Different
unmute
country.
yourself or just drop more information in the chat.
So I do see the answer, different countries. So yes, so that is possible. Oftentimes we have students that have earned degrees from a foreign country, or they have units from a different country. And absolutely, it is possible that those degrees or units can be utilized to give you undergraduate credit. And so for CSUSB, I can't speak on the other CSUs. You would have to check in with them regarding their process. But for CSUSB, what you would have to do is you would have to contact our international admissions office, let them know that I'm a domestic student, but I do have credits or a degree from a different country that I want evaluated to see if I can use them for my undergraduate application. They would go ahead and do that evaluation for you and tell you, yes, this is how much we can give you towards that undergraduate degree. Sometimes you'll be surprised if you do have a degree from another country. Sometimes they give you the full degree equivalency, and then they tell you to apply as a master student versus a transfer student. So that evaluation is super important for you to determine how to move forward. It does take time, though, for them to evaluate your foreign documents because they're just a little bit trickier, right? They're very different from the transcripts that we're used to here. So just make sure that you do this early on to give them enough time to provide that evaluation during the filing period.
Looks like she has a follow-up question. What if I don't want to use them?
If you don't want to use them, then yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to, and then you would just go ahead and launch the application based on only your coursework at the community college here in the U.S. Mhm.
Perfect. The other question in the chat was, I have a GED. Do I need to submit that transcript as well?
No, no, you would just list the year that you achieved your GED, where you achieved the GED. So just have that information listed, because you'll enter it, you'll type it in, but you don't have to upload anything.
Okay. And if you have any questions, go ahead, raise your hand. You can unmute yourself or drop the question in the chat.
Hi, I had a question about the majors because I'm kind of confused there. Because I
Yeah.
know like some majors like Long Beach or even CSUSB, I know some of them they don't really have administration of justice as like the major, but that's what my major for transfer would be. So how would I go about
Mhm.
doing that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So just referring back to the example that I was providing earlier, right? You're absolutely right. Like it's not consistent, unfortunately, in higher ed, right? We all name it differently, and so it just causes so much confusion to the students. I apologize for
No,
that.
yeah, it's okay.
But for CSUSB, that degree is titled Criminal Justice. So in the CSU, that's more of a common name for the current degree that you're pursuing. But that's why it's important to ask those questions. So I would just call the CSU and say, hey, I want to apply to your campus. This is my current major at the CC. I just want to know what it's called here because I can't find it. Try to do your research before you call. I can't, I can't find it on your drop down menu. Can you guide me? What would be the equivalent at your CSU if you even have it? But for CSUSB, it's criminal justice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions?
And I just wanted to say too, like, thank you for your time. Like honestly, that was so insightful. I feel like that was so helpful. I feel like I'm not intimidated by the process as much. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. Yeah, I would just say don't stress it. I know it's easier said than done, right? But I just want to congratulate you all for getting to this point where you're getting close to applying and transferring. And so again, just take your time. Know that you have this long filing period. And so the sooner you get started, the sooner you ease your anxiety that at least you've started the process and you have enough time to ask questions from the CSUs that you're applying to and from your community college counselors and advisors too. But yeah, just think about it as exciting that you've worked so hard to get here and now it's happening, and that this time next year, hopefully you'll be at your future CSU or UC or wherever that is. And that's really exciting to think about.
I have a question. I don't know if you could answer it or the pathway of law could answer this question, but I am part of the pathway to law at East Los Angeles Community College. And I was wondering if, because the professor let me know that I'm able to continue doing the classes that they require for that certificate. I'm wondering if I could use that to let you know that I'm part of it, or how would that process come to play? Because I mean, it's something that I am thinking of, like pursuing law,
Mhm.
but you said each Cal state is different. So how would that be? How would that come to play for your school?
Yeah, so going back to that quadrant 4 that I mentioned, right? That each CSU is going to have a series of different questions in that last quadrant or that last square of the application. So some CSUs might want to know additional information about you, of your extracurricular activities, clubs, certificates, accolades that you've earned. So that is where there's a good opportunity for you to highlight that. Um, and then some CSUs might not have additional questions, and so there might not be an opportunity to disclose that. And that's okay because it's not required for admissions. But if there is an opportunity through quadrant 4, then I would absolutely go ahead and highlight it there.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the CSU application doesn't, it's the decision for the CSU is mostly based on your transfer work and your GPA, and sometimes on the extracurricular activities as additional identifiers that could potentially boost your admissions. if needed, but we're mostly going to base our decision on your grades and classes. The UCs are definitely going to want to know more about you, and that those applications will definitely want those. That's a good application to list that program or any other programs. But for the CSU, it's a little bit easier because you don't have to enter any of that information.
Thank you, ladies, so much. I hope you have a great day.
Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you for coming, Kayla.
All right, I don't think there's any more questions.
Last call. Any other questions before we close? No, okay. And we will follow up with the recording, the presentation slides, contact information. We're all here. So, if the question comes up again, feel free to contact us. Just thanks again, Dr. Yara. This was super helpful. Thank you for coming. We also just appreciate our partnership with CSU San Bernardino. So thank you so much. And thanks to all of you also for joining and coming and participating and asking your questions. So have a
Bye,
wonderful night.
bye, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for your time.
Have a wonderful evening. Oh, sorry, one last thing. If you have some time, please complete our survey, and that's also going to be in the email that goes out to everyone.
Bye.
Good evening. Bye, everyone.